gerrymandering exercise that we did for our Constitution block. That's what all these pretty colors are here today. So I made up a grid that's supposed to be our map. Of course, it's not really a map. And I totally made up the demographics. So it doesn't represent any particular state or people or any of that. This are the demographics that I gave there, and these are Democrat and Republicans. We didn't do any other parties than those. This is an exercise, I just want to remind you of that, to give an idea of gerrymandering. So the first letter in each block represents the party, and the second letter in each block represents the ethnicity of that. And then we went through, and the quote rules of the game are that you have to make 12 districts. Each district can be 6 to 10 blocks. So we're using 12 different colors here to represent our different districts, and they have to be contiguous. You can't have like one over here and one over there. Mostly, I mean, that seems fair and is done when drawing districts anyway, but mostly so this is reasonable for us to calculate. So the first time we did it at random, she just made 12 different districts, different colors, and then we went through and calculated those. Lots of math in this exercise today. We first calculated the totals. Actually, this map is our random map. The totals for each of the population, right? So this is the percent. We had 53% Democrats in our 8x12 grid, and we have 47% Republicans, and this is the demographics for all the ethnic groups. White was 53%, Latino 9%, 19%, Black percent, Asian was 8%, and the Jewish population was 10%. So this is at random. We went through, calculated who would be represented by each of the districts, and then we calculated those totals that were represented. This is by party, this is by ethnicity, and then we compared those totals by what the population was to see if they were over or underrepresented for each group. Whites, in doing random, were definitely overrepresented. A lot of them were close, but blacks were severely underrepresented in this map. Then we went through and tried to make a map. I'm trying to figure out which is which. I think it's this one. We went through and tried to make a map where all the different ethnicities were accurately represented within a district, in their district, right? Or districts, depending on the percent of the population. She did a really good job at this, I feel like. And then we compared like what the party percentages would be if we were focusing on making sure that all the ethnicities had adequate representation, like proportional representation. And she did really well. So these are the numbers here of the ethnicities. And whites are slightly overrepresented. Latino is almost right on. Blacks are right on. Asians are right on. And then the Jewish people were slightly underrepresented. And you can see, though, it does skew our party lines a little bit. We have almost 50-50 here. It's like 53%, 47 Democrat, Republican. And here we have a solid 50% Democrat, but only 12% Republican. And then it's a toss-up for the other 10%. We're missing some. These are not right. They do not add to 100. Okay, but you get the idea. This one, in this map, the goal was to make sure that the Democrats won every single time. And this, of course, is gerrymandering. And she did an excellent job at this. So she went through and chose 12 districts. You can see the vast majority of the time the Democrats win at a clear 58%, with Republican having 33% and a toss-up at 8%. And when we looked at, let's get the demographics here, right here. These are the demographics, like what actually is happening in all of our map. These are the actual percent of the demographics. And you can see that it messes this up pretty strongly, with some being very highly underrepresented and others being overrepresented. So this was a really good exercise to show how challenging it is and the need for equity in drawing district lines.